Okay, we're excited to present to CW Austin about the Postsecondary Apprenticeship for Youth. That's the program that we run here in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm Michael Curry. I am a transition specialist for the program. I'm working directly with the students, and this is Brennan Nopens. Um, she's also a transition specialist, and we work together with about 20 students with this model, and we're going to share that with you today. Okay, so it's just a little bio for you to um, learn a little bit more about me. I've been in the world of disability services for almost 10 years now. Um, I've graduated from LSU with my bachelor's in psychology, and I just finished a master's program in business administration. Um, my goal has always been to help individuals one-on-one and work directly with them to um, provide them with the supports and tools that they need to seek higher employment and competitive wages. Um, and this is Brenna, and I'll let her just quickly introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brenna Nopens. I currently work with the Human Development Center under the Paycheck program. I have been working with folks with disabilities for about maybe 5 or 6 years, and here at with Paycheck for about 2.5 now. Yeah.
So we are an innovative collaboration between a few different agencies. First, the Human Development Center is who we work for at LSU Health in New Orleans. Um, we also collaborate with Louisiana Rehabilitation Services, which made us a vendor in the community, and then public school systems and employers to try to, create a more all-encompassing model for people with transition age people with disabilities. Um, so we kind of provide a pathway to employment. So Paycheck is a 3 semester program for adults age 18 to 22 transitioning to life after high school. So we first start them off with taking classes at Delgado, a local community college. That first semester, they're typically taking 2 classes along with getting work readiness training from me or Brenna. Um, so after we're training them in work readiness skills, we try to get them to um, get out in the community and explore local businesses, local employment opportunities um, that might suit their interests. And we ultimately want to find them a position where they're able to get some sort of internship, as we call it. It's a paid internship that they work for about 10 weeks to go to. Um, that it's a normal job basically, but they're just employed for 10 weeks and the employer can decide whether or not they want to keep them on after that. But it's a learning experience for them. And it's really cool to see the growth that they have in just that short 10-week period. And then finally, we want to eventually place them in long-term employment, place them where their goal or their dream job is, or maybe as close to it or on that path as we can. Um, and yeah, we'll get deeper into each one of these steps in the process. So, stop one. Stop one, like I said, we're taking post-secondary courses. The first semester, we're taking something along the lines of college career success skills, fitness, customer service. If somebody has um, a specific goal in mind of what they want to do, and we think there are classes like CPR or something like that that they could take that would help them, or animal care, or something that would help them in what their eventual placement would be, then they can take whatever they'd like. But like I said, in that first step, in the first semester, we're typically taking 2 courses that we also have time to work with them one-on-one. In the next semester, they're more focused on maybe one class that suits their career goals, and then we're getting them into job shadowing opportunities, and we'll talk about that later on, getting them into work site visits where they can speak with employers or employees in a certain position and we're just helping them along the process of career discovery. So one way that we do this, one way that we customize the pathway for each individual, the reason we're not all taking the same classes and the reason why different people are able to set different goals is because we do something called a STAR plan, which is students transitioning to adult roles. It's what you see right here um, in the blue star. It is basically a person-centered plan that's aimed at um, setting goals for the individual and long-term goals and short-term goals, and then setting action steps for how we can achieve those goals. Um, you could see on here that somebody might have school goals. They might want to take a certain class. Okay, how do we do that? We log online, we research what classes are available when, and we schedule it. You might want to gain job experience. How do we do that? We apply to positions. We talk with our transition specialists. Um, we make sure that we're applying for different places so that we can get those entry level positions and gain some job experience. So um, that's one way that we're able to speak with the families, because the families are families and friends and everyone who is, not everyone, but a lot of people who are most close to the individual that we're working with will attend a meeting and we'll all work together to try to find these goals for the person, and it's led by them, but getting the input of everybody around them really helps it become a nice little brainstorming event and helping all of us get on the same page, the family working towards the same goals as the transition specialists like me or Brenna, working towards the same goals as employers, etc. So that's a cool little tool for us to use, and um, we actually have a model explaining a little bit more about what students transitioning to adult roles is, what the STAR plan is, and how you can use it on our YouTube page. If anybody wants to check that out, you can get the link to our website on the one of the last slides. So,
And so the next stop is stop 2 on the pathway to employment for the program, and that is work and life skills training. And so these are skills that we work with our students one-on-one and always in the community. So this isn't done in a classroom, but it might be at the community college, it might be on outings. And so that's something that we always prioritize. And so some of the life skills training include bus training. So that would be for our students who live near bus lines, or that's something they want to be able to transport themselves without, having to rely on their parents driving them places, or maybe they're not ready for a driver's license to drive themselves. We'll do the bus training. And so we'll, from their house to maybe a future job or even to the college campus, we'll train them how to use the bus. Which is a really great life skill. Self-advocacy and self-determination. And some other skills training that we do with our students is resume writing. So we use their, past employment opportunities that they had, maybe even volunteer experience. So we build that resume with them. And then that's what we use when we find their internships and their placement. We work on interview skills, doing, mock interviews, talking about how you dress when you go to an interview and really make sure they feel prepared for that. And then lastly, for skills training is job exploration. And so we spend a lot of time doing that. And that would be, discussing with the students what their job goals are, where they see themselves working, what their strengths are, and what kind of jobs will really allow them to flourish. And we also will show them the online platforms where you can, how do you find a job? You go to these websites. And so we show them all that, as well as the type of jobs that are maybe near their home so they can have easy access to it, be able to take the bus or maybe walk. And then in this photo here on the slide to the right is an example of, we have a past paycheck student who's in the community and working on debit card purchases to improve his financial literacy. And then stop three on the pathway is career exploration. And this typically happens closer in the second semester. And so each participant gets to explore professions through, and it's actually not two anymore, it's three. So they get three worksite visits and then three job shadowings. And so worksite visits are about a 1 hour to 2 hour opportunity for them to go to a business and to see what it's like to actually do that job. So they would more so get a little tour, and maybe the manager or other employees will explain what they do, and they can really get an in-depth, explanation and view of what the job duties are. And so they get three of those, and then a job shadowing is a little bit more in depth. It's about 3 to 4 hours, and they actually get to shadow an employee and get to try out these duties. And so these are meant to really help the students finalize what type of internship they're going to want to do. So that's kind of why we do these before they get into their internships, because they're still not quite sure what they want to do, but this really starts to finalize where we'll find their internships. And so
Yeah.
in this photo, Michael, maybe you could share, because this is one of your past students.
Yeah, this was one of our students on the North Shore. It was a pilot program that we ran, and this was one of my students, Cam. He visited Peace, Love, and Little Donuts, and it was a job shadowing opportunity. So the owner was really nice. They let him stay there for a few hours while, they're frying up the donuts, decorating the donuts. He was able to watch them do the process for about, I don't know, an hour and a half. And then after a little while, they asked if he wanted to actually do a little bit of the work. So there's a picture of him making his own donuts that they let him keep, which is pretty cool for him. So he got to make his own donuts. He learned how to do that, fold a few boxes that you see right there. And, it was actually a way for him to discover that that's something that he didn't want to do. Uh, he enjoyed it for a very short amount of time, but he thought it would be too much pressure to consistently make that many donuts, and he was worried about the fryer as well. So um, it's a win-win either way, whether or not they want to be there or the owner wants them to be there or not. It's a good way for them to be exposed to, at the very least, what they want or what they don't want to do.
And then stop four on the pathway is paid internships. So this is the opportunity where the students get to undergo the two different 10-week paid internships, or they can be like 240 hours. It kind of depends on where you get to first and how much they're working each week. And so they get two of those. And a really cool thing is that LRS, Louisiana Rehabilitation Services, will reimburse the employers for the wages, which is a really good incentive to help us get some really unique internship sites. And then during these internships, our students get 240 hours of job coaching per internship. So that's essentially could be as much as every hour that they're working. We can be there providing the coaching services to assist them in learning the skills of the job and make sure that they're performing them the way the employer would like, and help refining those skills. So yeah, and these we really like to find things that maybe the internships aren't exactly what they want their placement to be, but that these internships might refine those skills that they maybe are still working on. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for our participants.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that and say that there's so many skills that you don't even recognize are across all jobs, all the soft skills that they have to learn, communication with um, their bosses, communication with other employees, signing in, signing out, um, being able to show up on time, being disciplined, understanding the relationship from employer to employee. So that's something we like to stress to our students for their first internship is we all have dreams and aspirations of where we want to end up, but all of us start kind of on the same path. So we want to put them in a place that they will succeed. Obviously, we're not going to put somebody who has problems with loud noises in a giant like go-kart track or something, but we are going to we are going to say, okay, well, you want to be, you want to be a lifeguard one day. Okay, while you work on CPR and first aid certification or something like that, let's start you off working at like a health club or something that will help them get to that point one day. So, yeah, I just wanted to include that as well.
Yeah, and additionally, this is a really important point to describe to the participants that these internships will go on their resume. So it will give a broader view of them on their resume when they're going to find their placement, which we hope that they stay out for a long time. So at this point, after the two internships, the resume has, two jobs on them. So we explain that it's good to have them be diverse. Yeah, so.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So stop five. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that.
and then so stop five is employment. So this is the placement point in the program. And so after the training and all of the internships, the participants get hired as independent employees. So this may be at one of their internship sites, which oftentimes for us does happen. Between the employer and our participants, they love the internship and they say we want to keep them, long term now. And so that's always really exciting when that happens. Um, and so during the placement, Michael and I still continue to check in on the students, check in with the employer, make sure everything is going well. If they need us to stop in, we will and do a little bit of job coaching here and there. But this is kind of the opportunity for the participants to, show everything that they've been working on in the program. And so once they have been at this placement for 90 days, we kind of close the case and it's considered a successful employment. But anyone who's been in the program can always come back to us and we can replace them if something happens with that job. Whether they just want to try something else, whether they've been let go, for whatever reason, they can always come back to us and we will find them another job.
Great. So now we're gonna do some case studies of like kind of going over the life of our participants that have been in and exited the program. Um, this is Cameron. I introduced him earlier. He's the one that did the job shadowing at Peace, Love, and Little Donuts. But he was with me for about a year and a half. And in that time, he was actually a high school student that we made an exception for, and they let work with me. So, in that time, he completed his CPR certification with me on the side as well, and received work readiness training. Um, he was taught how to Uber completely on his own. He was able to call an Uber to and from wherever he needed to go. There's not much of a public transportation system on the North Shore of Louisiana, so um, there wasn't much opportunity for him to get on a public bus or even paratransit. It just wasn't really an option for him. So I was able to teach him how to Uber by following him in the car. Whenever he called it, I would help him call it. And eventually he knew exactly what to do. He knew how to tip. He knew how to rate them. And that was a huge success for him. Um, Self-advocacy, Cam was somebody that was always stressed and a people pleaser. So something we really had to stress with him was to make sure that he knew that whenever he didn't like something or something wasn't the right way, instead of shutting down and not wanting to tell anybody anything because it hurt their feelings, um, he needed to be able to communicate exactly how he felt and what he wanted out of the situation. And you're at least able to come to some sort of terms, and he was able to be understood more. And I was really proud of him for developing that skill over the year and a half that we were together. And I think that kind of plays into self-determination as well, because he was able to communicate those things that he needed to communicate, how he was feeling, what was going on in his head. He wasn't shutting down, and he wasn't um, getting himself into situations that are negative. So he was able to determine more so what path that he was going to be taking because he was able to use those skills. And then resume writing, we do it with all of our um, we do it with all of our students. So um, he was able to get that, and he received a portfolio of all the skills that he had, um, all of the education that he had, certifications, whatever. Um, so for him, career exploration was based mainly on like restaurants, ice cream shops, bakeries, because he wanted to work um, in a customer service industry. So we also looked at health clubs. Um, he was a really kind person that wanted to tell everybody hi and had a great smile. So he really wanted to be able to interact with people every day. That was something that he wanted. So we visited probably 10 different restaurants, bakeries, and ice cream shops just to um, see if he could eventually work there. And we actually ended up placing him at or getting him an internship at Franco's Athletic Club, which was a health club in the area. He worked the kids camp for the entire summer. So it was a 12-week period that he was able to work at kids camp. He was um, independent in uh, it was the kind of like the PE section. He would run the games for all the kids, and he had some help, but he would, for the most part, run the entire group, and he came really far away in that entire period, and he's now currently not working at either one of these places for employment. He was looking into North Lake Seafood, um, and he was employed there for a minute, and he was also employed at Franco's Athletic Club only in the summers. But he actually decided to move into college in the area that's more of a um, more of a Christian-based college, and he was able to get the confidence from working at Franco's Athletic Club and North Lake Seafood to um, move into kind of a more helpful role at his community college, where they help out with kids programs. The community college was involved in a church that ran a kids program, so he was able to help out with them, and he's doing great right now. Our second participant is Rory. He is also on the North Shore, based out of Slidell, actually. Sorry, I'm going to take this off real quick. Um, and he started taking post-secondary courses at North Shore Technical Community College in Slidell. He was very interested in computers, so he took Intro to Cloud Computing, Intro to PC Hardware, Intro to Linux. He was very intelligent, but one thing that he struggled with was communication skills. He is basically nonverbal for the most part. It takes a lot to get an answer out of him. So some of the things that we had to work on was how could we develop his communication skills? How could we make it easier for him to advocate for himself and to let us know when something was going wrong? So we introduced some sort of forget exactly what it's called now, but it's an app on his phone that was able to say the sentences for him. So he was able to just type in what he wanted to say, and it made it easier. Or he would text me what he wanted to say, and it would make it easier um, for us to work with him. So he was able to improve self-advocacy. He understood how to study for tests, and he ended up getting, I think, straight A's. So he probably didn't need too much help from me, but he improved his study skills. He learned how to manage his own time and turn in everything on time, which was a great skill for him moving into work. Um, we originally, whenever we were looking for careers, we went with restaurants, maybe working somewhere in the back, because customer interactions weren't something that he was really comfortable with. Health clubs, we looked at wiping down equipment, and grocery stores, we also looked at stocking shelves because he was very organized. And that is a solitary job that would allow him to do his job kind of at a self pace. And he eventually received an internship from Crossgates Family Fitness, where he actually still is employed. Um, he's taken a little bit fewer hours since he started up college again, but he is still employed um, as part of the clean crew. So he's wiping down equipment and he's able to just go in there and complete his few hours of work. Um, he knows whenever his break is, when his lunch is, everything like that. And the people like him there, he's doing well. So how do we get involved with Paycheck? Paycheck is very actively seeking participants, school district partners, and always employers. We're always looking for new opportunities for our students. So school district partners is always something good for us because we're able to get a more steady flow of participants and we're able to help a larger amount of people hire more staff, and continue growing the model and showing what best practice transition services look like. Um, so if you're interested or you know anybody that's interested or you want to learn more, or you want to submit an application, this is the QR code for our pre-application. We usually get back to you within a day of completing it. So we'll get back to you and we can certainly reach out to you and set a meeting and see what next steps are for you. There's openings in the greater New Orleans and St. Bernard area. This is our webpage. You'll see actually a few different links to what our program is and a few success stories that we have on here as well. But it'll also tell you a little bit about the skills that we develop, a little bit about who we are and what we do. And we want to expand into new school districts. We want to help teach this model to new school districts. So even if you're not local, we would still try to figure out some sort of way that we could help train you or teach you or coach you through this model. And you can email Sue Killam to learn a little bit more about that. Her email's below. You'll also find it on the Paycheck webpage. Info and sign up form for employer opportunities. If you know anybody or if you're somebody that wants to become a community partner, show that you're committed to diversity and inclusion, then the sign up form's right there. We'd love to have some sort of worksite visit, job shadowing, paid internship, or job placement opportunities for our students. We're constantly looking for new places, and we're constantly looking for quality employers to work with us. And if you know anybody or if you want to do it, please reach out. And you'll find our socials right here. You can scan our QR codes if you'd like. One of them is linked to our webpage. That is my information and Sue Killam's information, who is our program director. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. We're usually pretty good about replying, so we'll be back to you, within an hour or two. That's usually where we are, but at the very least a day. And other than that, that is pretty much it. I want to thank everybody for their time, and I wanted to possibly, answer like a few frequently asked questions. I don't know if that's usually people are asking, something about how can I get involved. People are usually asking about individual students. So one thing that we say is in Louisiana, at least, they have to be somebody who's 18 to 22 to work with us. Sometimes people miss that. They have to be a client of Louisiana Rehabilitation Services or whatever your state agency's rehabilitation services are. And we can definitely, if you reach out to us, we can definitely connect you with some LRS or Louisiana Rehabilitation Service agencies in your area. And Do we have any other frequently asked questions? Do you think of anything that we might have missed, Brenna? If not,
Can't think of anything.
well, our emails are in the PowerPoint. Feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to um, answer any other questions that you might have. And like I said, we're very available to new participants, new employers, anybody that wants to be involved. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.